GreenTouch Month.
All right, guys, so here we have the Wright Stander ZK. This is a 52-inch deck. They dropped this off to us a couple days ago. We were out at the Gravely event, so we're just now getting to use it. This does come with the 29 horsepower EFI by Kohler. And one thing that is, you know, I'll tell you, it's pretty awesome, is that there's a 29 horsepower EFI engine on a 52-inch deck. So that I like already. I haven't been able to use this mower but one spot. I just drove it up from the back of the property up to here, but it's fast. So it's definitely faster than a lot of 52-inch mowers. I notice as far as wheel speed, it's definitely a little faster than normal. You guys know that I'm definitely become a huge Kohler fan, so I love that part. We're about to take this thing off and we're going to go out here and mow. We got like 42 acres we're going to mow out here today. This is one of our properties. So we have, usually I'm out here with like a 60-inch mower, okay? Usually out here with a 61-inch Scag or the 60-inch Gravely Pro Stance. So I want to see how fast I can get this mowed, with this 52-inch being a little bit faster than most, like I said, 52-inch mowers. So we're going to drop this deck down and we're going to get mowing. I will point out a couple things so far that I do like, and I just got a couple things that I don't like. So far, right off the bat, I don't like the deck leveling pin down there at all. Okay, I don't like that. I don't like the controls. I can tell you already, I don't like it. It's not comfortable. It's something you gotta get used to, and I'm sure you're used to it and it's great. But for me, usually when I jump on a mower, certain things I like right away, certain things I don't. I don't like that, I don't like that. I do love, however, I do love the deck arm, and I do like the little extra notches it's got down there on the side. So it's got these little extra notches. You guys know, like if you're kind of mowing, you can see the notches right there. You guys are mowing and you need to lift something up. Instead of holding the deck up while you're going over something, you can you can just push this in and you can lift it up to whatever height that you need to hold it for a moment, and then you can drop it back down to where it's already set. So I think that is pretty sweet right there. Again, I love I like the Harley Davidson look and feel of the exhaust that Kohler puts on there. Otherwise, man, I mean, it's not to compare it to anything else and say it's standard stuff by any means whatsoever. Every mower is different. But I actually do like the tanks being on the outside, and it's up to 15 gallons of gas, which I'll give them as a huge plus on a Stander. That's pretty powerful, having that much gas on a Stander. I like that a lot. Plenty of fuel. Gas gauge is top mounted, which is great. Love being able to see the fuel gauge on here. So far, the things, like I said, I don't like are the handles and the deck leveling system being inside. The platform is really comfortable. The lean into is pretty comfortable. And yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like a beast and it feels like one already. So yeah, I'm gonna jump on this. We're gonna get busy. Want to thank Ed Wright Mowers, and Terry, the sales rep that contacted us. Just wanted to send us a mower for a couple days to see what we thought. I can't give you guys a full review on a mower that we're using just for like a couple days, but I can tell you what I think of it right away compared to other mowers that I've just been on just for a couple of days. Okay, so we'll get that part done. So yeah, I got this big old backpack on because I got a drone in it and all this other stuff. So I think we're going to throw the drone up and get some aerial of this while I'm just mowing this spot, and then we'll wrap everything up and just get back. So this is kind of a first impression. Won't be a super long video, or maybe, depends if I speed up the footage. But like I said, it's a 52-inch Stander ZK with the Kohler Command Pro 29 horsepower EFI. So I got a lot to say about Kohler that I'm gonna do in some separate video stuff that I've been pretty blown away and impressed with, having talked to the direct people at Kohler about some things that I had concerns and questions about, and hearing where they're coming from and where they're going. I'm pretty pumped about it all. All right, let's get busy.
she comes to know. Cold innocence, a quick and numbing wounds. Is it waiting for? And I wanna guess what I wanna guess. Only what I am waiting for. I wanna guess what I wanna guess. All my strength to carry forth. Show me what I know. That your ego has become the battle for the lessons learned. Scream it aloud as you clutching to the words that keep me. Who's keeping score? Yeah, and I wanna guess what I wanna guess. Only what I am waiting for. I wanna guess what I wanna guess. All my strength to carry forth. I wanna guess what I wanna guess. Getting back to when I lived. Take control, fight to liberate. Let rapture fall, hands and knees. Escape let face decide what cannot be undone.
All right, guys, so I'm done mowing for the day with the walker. A couple of other things I wanted to point out. So here's just something else that, well, it's just a couple things. And listen, I'm not here trashing this. This thing is an awesome mower. This thing is a great mower. I'm sure everybody that owns one of these will totally agree. These things are phenomenal. But just like with a Scag, a Gravely, a Dixie chopper, a Wright, you can find something that doesn't work for you, and a lot of things that do work. Like I said, the things that definitely work for me, I like the platform. It's comfortable. The suspension's comfortable. It's, you know, the gas tanks are huge. The fuel gauge is on top. I love that part. I love the deck handling, the deck leveling system right there. So I don't like the deck leveling system right there where it's at. And I wasn't sure what to think about the motor being on the top. And I don't think that, I think for me, like, I noticed, like, I like that it's on the deck because it keeps the belts level and keeps you having to buy belts quicker. I think that's phenomenal and genius, and it's great. Lifting and lowering the deck doesn't feel any heavier than normal, so they got that worked out. It's great. This deck definitely stays on the ground to mow because of the weight and the resistance, I guess. It doesn't flop around as much as you will see other decks do, which is great. But the downside to that, because there's an up and down to everything, the downside to that, what I find is the one area that I was mowing is very bumpy. And I noticed that when this whole system comes up and comes back down, it like really jolts me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can kind of feel it in my gut and up into my chest when I'm on the mower, when this all comes up and bounces back down. But I know a lot of guys prefer it. They love it. They like it. Just from what I'm used to, it just kind of, it throws like a jolt, and it feels really heavy, kind of almost going into your jaw almost. But when it's on the ground, and if it's smooth and if it's flat, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It keeps this deck stays on the ground, does not move around, and it just goes through where it needs to go through. But when you hit bumps and things, it definitely comes up and down, and you can feel it a little heavier than normal, kind of going through your body. The other thing is, let me take this down. The other thing is I'm definitely not down with the throttle where it's at. So listen, this thing is amazing. It's great, okay? But there's just things that I personally don't I like, because maybe I'm just not used to it. So I don't like the handles, like I said, and they kind of hurt my hand while I'm mowing. I mean, this is definitely like a far reach for me. you know, to get the hydros going, and then to have to pull back here, it's just too much. Like I said, I prefer a more compact thing, but I know a lot of big guys that when they're standing on this, they absolutely love this whole setup. A lot of guys will just argue all day long. They love this. It's perfect. I'm crazy, and all that stuff. That's awesome. I thought it would be more comfortable on my hands. I think maybe it's because the hydro handles are really thin, so it kind of just, you know what I'm saying? They're just thin. They're usually, I'm used to them just being a little more big round, you know, just kind of fatter, and the hand just feels more comfortable. This definitely feels like you know, just a rod with just a thin piece of coating on it. I'm not knocking the build quality of any of this. You can't. This thing is like built like a tank, but the ergonomically, I just didn't like this, and it's the first time I've noticed my hands hurting mowing something. My Scag doesn't feel like that. The Gravely doesn't feel like that, and even a John Deere Road doesn't feel like that. This actually kind of started hurting my hands in here a little bit. I'm sure if I get used to it, it's great. But right here, I have to say, so the handles, let's just listen. The control system is definitely going to be ergonomically subjective to yourself and what you're comfortable with, how big your hands are, small your hands are, all that stuff. But I definitely, this is, no, I don't like the throttle up underneath here. I mean, it's, check it out, like, here's a top view of it. That throttle's underneath here. So if you want to throttle all the way up and down and you're mowing, like, you have to get under here or reach around there. And that's actually the one thing I do not like the most, is the throttle. It's in the, my opinion, it is in the absolute most worst place it could possibly be. Like, it'd be better independently, or if this bracket came down and that came down and these were in, you know, these brackets separated and then the throttle was in the middle. But because the bar goes all the way across, you have to, there's no other way to do it. You can, you have to hold on to this, or you have to go up underneath it and press your knuckles up against here. So that's just definitely, let me get in there, that's just something I don't like. So I don't like this at all. My least favorite thing is where the throttle is on that. All right, so to recap, awesome mower. I love the trash can little screen right here. That's awesome. This Kohler EFI is off the chain. The way it sits on the deck, with the deck, I think has an awesome purpose, but it can not be so comfortable when you're hitting bumps and stuff. Otherwise, I think that it works great like that. Lifting it up and down, no big deal. It's comfortable to ride. Leaning into this, it's no more comfortable than a Gravely or the John Deere or the Scag V-Ride, to be honest, in my opinion. So I think they all do a really good job across the board of where the platform's at, and, you know, just the suspension and the comfort. Ferris definitely kicks butt when it comes to stand-on comfort, man. They get, you know, like, that thing is ridiculous. The one Richie Plemons has one, and I was on that thing, and like, that was probably one of the most comfortable stand-on platforms I've ever been on. I love where they got the e-brake. I love the deck leveling handle. I love that the front end, it's a bolt-on front end. I love that. All that stuff I love. Like I said, I love the size of the fuel tanks, 15 gallons, man, it's ridiculous. Fuel gauge on top where you can see it. So one thing about the Gravely I don't like is that the fuel gauge is up underneath the dash, we'll call it. But I don't like the handles, or, you know, I don't like the controls. Don't like where the throttle is at on here, and I don't like where the deck leveling pin system is, having to bend over right there instead of just kind of leaning over the deck. So otherwise, that's kind of my first impression. It cuts really good. It cuts well. Nothing wrong with the way it cuts. The engine handled fine. We went through some thick stuff. This stuff is thicker than you think it is. It's not like, you know, a lot of the stuff you guys see in the Midwest, where, you know, it's like, you know, 2 feet tall or a foot tall. Down here, St. Augustine and Bermuda and Bahia, when it's thick, man, it is just 2 weeks thick or just 1 week thick with a lot of rain. It's really dense. Even without a mulch kit. With a mulch kit, it's even more difficult. But anyways, great mower. On a scale of 1 to 10, which I've never done a scale of 1 to 10, I definitely give it a good strong 8. And you guys will give it a 10 that love Wright mowers. I think it, for me, the reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is because the throttle, the uncomfortability of the handles and where that pin is on the side to raise and lower the deck. There's not a mower on the planet, whether it's Exmark, whether it's Gravely, whether it's Kubota, whether it's, you know, anything, that is going to be an absolute 10 across the board. You know what I'm saying? We can find something with everything, man. And that's something that I get and I see from a lot of, you know, people just trashing and trashing about this engine, that mower, this tire, that. I mean, man, guys, at the end of the day, all these companies make some pretty badass products. It becomes preference, it becomes dealer support, and it just becomes, you know, overall, like how you feel on a mower, preference. I mean, everything is preference. You know what I'm saying? So my preference is having the Gravely Pro Stance versus this. There are some things I like better on this. There are some things I like better on the Gravely. Overall mowing with the Gravely, the cut's pretty much the same for what I notice. What I notice on the Gravely versus this is it's definitely more comfortable on the Pro Stance to mow than this was. Everything is definitely a little easier as far as, you know, raising the deck, lowering the deck, and all that where you want it. That's what I'm saying. It's just something with everything, man. But this is a great mower, and I see why people buy them. And thank you, you know, Ed, Wright, and Terry and everybody for being cool with letting us hold on to this for a few days and giving you guys our little humble opinion. Like I said, my opinion could really have nothing to do with yours at all. This is just me. It's got tons of awesomeness to it and a few things that I just probably wouldn't want to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But then that's it, man. Everything's all good. All right, y'all, till the next one.